What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. I have created a marathon of all of the Halloween decorate with me videos that I have filmed over the past several years. I thought it would be nice to give you guys all of the decor inspiration in one place and to provide you guys with ideas for the season or simply just put you in the Halloween mood whenever you need it. I also thought it would be interesting to see how much my decor videos have evolved over the years. We'll be starting with 2019 and going all the way through to 2021. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I will also be very active in my community tab so you guys can vote on what you'd like to see next. I hope that you guys enjoy this marathon. Let me know in the comments below which part of the decor was your favorite. Stay spooky and let's get right into the video.
So the night before, I laid out all of the items I thought I wanted to use so they would be ready to go in the morning. It was a beautiful rainy autumn day, so I put on my favorite playlist, lit a candle, made myself a cup of coffee, and got myself ready for a full day of decorating. So the first thing I did was I started with the base of the mantle. I knew that I wanted to use the Hocus Pocus mantle scarf that I bought, so I put that down first. It took me a good 20 minutes to adjust it, not gonna lie, and then after I got that nice and secured, I decided to add a black velvet runner on the top to create some depth and some texture. This is something that we had left over from our wedding in May, which I still have a video coming up about that if you're interested. I wanted the black velvet runner to look a little crumpled and disheveled to create some dimension for all of the pieces that I was going to add afterwards. So once I laid that down and had it how I liked it, I began with some of the highlight pieces that I knew that I wanted to use, including the beautiful headless horseman statue and a candelabra. And then I added in some spooky trees, as well as the haunted house that I got from Big Lots and the gorgeous candle pedestals that I picked up at Bath & Body Works. At this point, I realized I needed to move the spooky trees over a bit because they were covering up the mirror and kind of closing the scene in, and I wanted to widen it up a bit, and I figured moving them over would help with that. And then I realized that I really didn't want to use the haunted house, so I took that out and decided to use my little raven on the stack of books, which I really loved because it really adds that gothic Edgar Allan Poe kind of feel to the mantle, which is totally what I was going for. I decided that I didn't want to put any candles on the pedestals. I just felt that putting two different Bath & Body Works candles on the mantle at the same time was just a bit much, and instead I used the pedestals as just a little bit of height for some of the smaller items I knew I wanted to use. Next, I took a gold chalice that was left over from our wedding and I filled it with cobwebs and black roses, and I wasn't sure at first if I wanted it to lay on its side or stand up, but I liked it both ways, and I think ultimately I did go with it standing up, but I thought it added just a nice little extra gothic touch to the mantle. After ruminating for a while of how I was going to decorate the cloche, I decided to go with something similar that I did last year. I used this little styrofoam skull and then covered it with some creepy cloth as well as some green moss and spiders. One of the best ways to make your Halloween mantle pop is definitely adding in a black feather boa. This is the second year I've done this, and it absolutely just brings everything together and totally transforms the scene. So the further along that I got with this theme, I realized that it was kind of reminding me a little bit of Borgin and Burke's from Harry Potter, that shop on Knockturn Alley, and I was totally loving it. For the past couple of years, I was using bats that my husband and I had made, but they were kind of falling apart, so I decided to buy some new ones on Amazon that I felt looked a little bit better. I had so much fun putting this look together, and I really love how it turned out. Now it's time to add some really creepy cobwebs. It was finally time to break out the Webcaster Gun, and we were so excited to use it. You hook up the Webcaster Gun to an air compressor, and then it shoots out the hot glue like cobwebs. This is what they use on film sets and haunted houses, and it really creates that authentic spooky look. Although we went a little heavier than we would have liked to, we still were really pleasantly surprised with how everything turned out. We really love it, and I cannot wait to show you guys at the end of the video how amazing all of this looks at night. Next, I moved on to the coffee table. Lately, I've been going for a really Art Deco meets modern inspiration for our living room, and I'm just all about the black and gold now because we got a new couch and it just so happened to have gold legs, and I just had this total vision for just an Art Deco meets modern vibe for the living room. And then magically Joann's came out with an Art Deco Halloween collection, and I pretty much lost my mind. And I noticed this after I did my Halloween haul, so I'm really sorry I didn't get to show you guys what I did pick up from Joann's, but you'll see a few items here. And I still want to keep our decor pretty minimal, which is why you'll only see a few pieces on the table. Next, I started decorating our dining table. I went for a similar base that I used last year, but instead of leaving the cobwebs stretched out on the table alone with a runner, I decided to put a spider web tablecloth over it, and I felt like it looked really nice. I wanted to keep this tablescape again pretty minimal. I wanted to set the table again, so I didn't want to go too crazy on the tablescape. I wanted it to look clean and gothic and classy. I used the black roses from the Dollar Tree again to create a base around the candelabra. And then once I had all of my pieces set up for the tablescape, I weaved some creepy cloth around everything again to create more dimension and depth to the tablescape. I really love playing around with different materials and different textures to elevate my holiday decor. I covered these silver chargers with a little bit of black cobwebs, and then I added in these matte black plates that I got from Target. Then on top I added these plates that I made last year. I hand painted these just as a nice little extra touch for the dining table. I don't believe that you can eat off of them, but I still think that they look pretty cute. Next, I just added some matte black silverware as well as some cobwebs in the cups just so it looks like it's bubbling over, if you will, like it's mimicking dry ice coming out of the glass. Next was my very favorite place to decorate, which was the bar area. Now, you're seeing me start out doing this one way, but I quickly realized that I wanted to do it different because I kind of did this last year and I didn't want to repeat myself too much. So I started out doing this just to get it going, and then I changed my mind and I lined up the bottles in a different way and decided to use that skull tray further down on the bar, as you'll see later. I didn't want to overcrowd the top of the bar, but I felt that it was missing something, so I added in this fall garland as well as some fairy lights that I got on Amazon, and I feel like it really tied everything together. Aside from themed liquor bottles, I did pick up some of this Liquid Death sparkling water, and from there I added in some of our very favorite cocktail books to the bar. I picked up these really awesome light up ice cubes from Amazon, and let me tell you, if you want to take your drinks to the next level, this is all you need. And then I also got these really beautiful Art Deco inspired rocks glasses. But what you're about to see is my very favorite thing that we own in this house right now, which is a Michael Myers tiki mug. This is made by Geek Tikis. They make some of the coolest tiki mugs I've ever seen. They have a lot of horror inspired tiki mugs, and I believe they have like Star Wars and just really iconic characters. This was just an absolute must-have for me. My husband and I really enjoy making tiki drinks, so I ordered these Halloween tiki umbrellas from this really awesome Etsy shop. It was my goal to use these umbrellas in a Halloween cocktail video, which I don't think I'm gonna get around to it before Halloween, so if that's something you guys would still want to see, like a spooky cocktail video, let me know in the comments below. My husband is a really amazing self-taught mixologist, and I'm not too shabby myself, so we really wanted to do that together. So let me know if that's something you want to see soon, and I will work on that for you. Also, yes, I did bring cornstalks in the house. If you can have a Christmas tree in the house, you can bring cornstalks in the house. I just got rid of the corn so there wouldn't be any bugs, and I decorated them the way that I would at my parents' house. I really missed seeing those cornstalks, so I had to have a piece of home with me. I fell completely in love with the atmosphere that they created for the bar. I'm really happy with how everything turned out, and this is one of my favorite spots in the house. Next, I moved on to decorating the tier tray in our coffee area. This is one of my favorite parts in the house to decorate because it's where I spend a lot of my time. Coffee connoisseur over here. But I knew that I wanted to keep my Bones coffee front and center, and then I used that little Halloween tree that I bought at Michael's, and I put some coffee stir sticks in my 𝗟𝗲 mug. And then I added in some fall garland and fairy lights again to tie everything together. I finally got to use that votive candle that I got at HomeGoods, the one that had a brother that broke on the way home, and then I paired that with some little ghost marshmallow peeps, which I like to do every year because they're just so cute. These are those made good snacks that I was talking about. They are free of all major allergens. I have a peanut allergy, so I have to be careful when I have anything sweet. This is one of the only things that I feel safe having now and again, so I made sure to keep my cauldron stocked. So that's it for the decorate with me portion. Now we're finally going to move on to the most exciting part of this video, which is the cinematic house tour. I'm going to show you guys what everything looks like lit up at night. I hope you enjoy.
So a few days before I started decorating, I brought in all of the Halloween totes that were in our garage, and this was a collection of not only my husband and I's Halloween decor, but as well as my parents. So I had double the amount of decor to work with this year, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a little overwhelming, but also really exciting because I had a lot of choices of what themes I could go for in certain rooms of the house. Just as I did last year, I decided to bring up all of the items that I knew I wanted to use. I had separated them by color scheme and by theme, so I could create a cohesive theme wherever I was decorating. So that same evening, I decided to start decorating, so I grabbed myself a tasty beverage, and then I put on one of my favorite spooky movies, which was The Addams Family, and I began decorating. So this area has now taken place of the mantle area that I was decorating in my previous videos. This is a very old saloon piano that I bought off of an old friend, and I have been in love with it ever since, and we have made it a staple of decorating in my parents' home for many years now. I really wanted to give it a new theme this year, so this was very inspired by the film Trick or Treat, as well as just very classic, vintage, Halloween-y vibes. I kept the theme black and orange with just a little touch of white. My goal was to remain very loyal to classic Halloween icons like the Headless Horseman, a haunted house, the orange and black witch, the autumn leaves. I felt like less was more with this piano this year, and I just tried to keep it very simple and very classic, and I feel like we pulled it off. After finishing up with the velvet runner, I added in the gothic candle pedestals from Bath & Body Works. I like to use these as a bit of extra height for some smaller items that I like to highlight. I then added in some mini pumpkins, these glittery witch boot tea light candle holders, which are amazing. And then I added in one of my very favorite candles from 𝗟ci𝘃𝗲, which smells like you just dumped out an entire bag of Halloween candy, and it's incredible. Lastly, I added in one of my very favorite Halloween signs that we have, which is this really adorable vintage owl. And I also added in some pumpkin lights that we've had for a long time, but they really remind me of Sam's sucker from Trick or Treat. They just have that classic jack-o'-lantern look, which just really reminds me of Trick or Treat. And at the end of the montage, you'll see more of the Trick or Treat elements thrown into the entire piano aesthetic, so definitely stay tuned for the end of the video for that. Next up, you know we had to do it to him. We broke out the Webcaster Gun for a second year, and we had so much fun with it this time around. I really feel like the cobwebs turned out even better this year than they did last year, because last year we went super heavy, and this year we went a little bit lighter and a little bit more spread out with the cobwebs. So if you guys have never seen the Webcaster Gun before, please check out last year's decorating video as well as my haul video from last year, and I explain a little bit more about what it is and how to use it, but it really creates the most natural and theatrical looking cobwebs that you could possibly imagine. I really love the look that the Webcaster Gun creates, and I'm just thrilled with the end result. Stay tuned for the end of the video to see how all of this looks at night. It was the next day, and it was a very beautiful rainy autumn day, so I decided to decorate our coffee bar area. So before I got started, I put on my favorite playlist and made myself a cup of Bones coffee, which if you've been watching me for a while, you know is my favorite. So I lit a candle and just got all of the vibes ready to go to have a beautiful time decorating. So I started off this area by cleaning off my new tiered tray with my very favorite Mrs. Meyer's spray in the acorn spice scent, which is literally fall in a bottle. It is incredible. It will just make your home smell like a complete autumn paradise. I began decorating the tiered tray by piling on all of my very favorite current spooky mugs, and I tried to place them in a way where there was a lot of symmetry in the colors and the height of the mugs before I began placing more decorative items. Next, I added in the spooky ghost that I got at Michael's, as well as this little vintage cat, some Halloween straws, and some coffee stir sticks in my 𝗟𝗪𝓲𝓽𝓵𝓲𝓷 mug. Next, I added in some candy corn, which is always my favorite thing to do on a tiered tray. And then I realized that I didn't really like the mug that I chose to put the candy corn in because I knew that I wanted to pile on some little marshmallow ghost peeps. I didn't really think the ghost on ghost look was really gonna work, so I took the candy corn out of the ghost mug and I poured it into the skull mug that I got from TJ Maxx, and that worked out perfectly. After the candy corn, I added in some more fall leaves, which, as you guys know, I feel transforms literally anything. If you want to make any area that you are decorating feel more like Halloween and more like fall, just use some autumn leaf garland. I mean, it is a great filler. It adds a little extra oomph to any area that you feel just needs a little extra something, and I highly recommend using them literally everywhere. Next, I added some cobwebs into the bottom of my ghost mug because I knew that I wanted to add some short straws to the bottom tier to kind of balance out the decor on the top. Next, I moved on to my coffee shelf above the tiered tray, and I just played around with a different arrangement of things. I knew that I wanted to use that trick-or-treat sign that I bought at Michael's. I also added in that 𝗟𝗪𝓲𝓽𝓵𝓲𝓷 ghost canister, as well as a spooky tree and various classic Halloween items. This was another area where I was really going for just a very classic Halloween vibe. I wanted to create symmetry, but I didn't want to cover up the sign too much, so I just mixed and matched different items until I got something that felt complete. I also added some of those fairy lights that I showed you guys last year, the amazing set of fairy lights from Amazon that has every setting in the world to choose from. They are so gorgeous. So I added the fairy lights on top of the autumn leaf garland just to bring everything to life. Lastly, I started working on decorating the bottom of the coffee bar, and I didn't want to overcrowd this area, and I also wanted it to stay a little bit functional. So I played around with the placement of some of the mugs that I wanted to use, which was a collection of Rae Dunn pumpkin mugs, which were very cute and very minimalist, which I enjoyed. I used my 𝗟𝗪𝓲𝓽𝓵𝓲𝓷 Halloween is Everyday rug. I just felt it went really well with our black kitchen, and then I just added in some velvet pumpkins on the bottom as well as more fall garland. My cat Mayhem, she just had to join in on the fun. She's so nosy and she has to watch everything that I do, but I really enjoy having her by my side as my little furry companion and just entertain her and play with her every chance I get. I love her so much, and I just love that she came to join me while filming my video. So that's a wrap for the coffee bar area, and now we're going to move on to decorating the bar cart in my office/beauty room. So in my office, I went for a spooky desert-themed bar cart, which was a little difficult to pull off, but in my office, I've been going for more of a desert theme lately. I really wanted to bring in elements of the desert, but still be able to keep it spooky. So I started off by adding in that cow skull that I got from at home, as well as the sweater weather candle, because I felt that it just tied that desert theme together with the blue and the orange. And then I added in my cactus plant, as well as this pumpkin mouth dude filled with all of my favorite bath bombs, some of them being fall scented and one little cactus. I really like the idea of putting my bath bombs in there, and I can just pull one out whenever I'm in the mood for just some spooky bath time action. Because best believe I'm still going to be celebrating Halloween for at least a week or two after Halloween, because honestly this video takes me so long to make that I kind of have to extend my celebrations into November, so it is what it is. I then added in some fall garland, some fairy lights, some of my very favorite autumn fragrances, which I do have an autumn fragrance video coming up for you guys very soon. I wanted to get it up earlier, but you know, time flies. So that'll be coming up very soon. And then I added in some wine glasses filled with some candy corn and cobwebs, as well as another one of my favorite bottles of wine, which is the Witch's Brew. And obviously my Queen of Halloween sign had to come into play here because it's my office and I am the Queen of Halloween, or so everyone tells me. I then added in some cobwebs and then followed that up with a candle that my dad actually got me last fall. So I've been trying to burn it sparingly because it's one of the last things that he bought me that I really treasure. So I felt it was only appropriate to keep it on my bar cart, so every time I see it and I burn it, I can think of him. So that's it for the office bar cart. I kept it really simple and I really love how this turned out. It was just the perfect amount of Halloween and spooky vibes mixed with my desert motif going on. It just really sets the mood in here and I'm really pleased with it. So we are moving on to my very favorite part of the house that I decorated, which was our Tiki Bar area. And it was very inspired by Porco Tiki Lounge, which was closed for the longest time. So we said, why not just make our own Tiki Bar in our basement? So that's what we did. And I could not wait to decorate it for Halloween. So I started out by adding in this green leafy garland, as well as some monstera leaf placemats, and then I added in our pineapple drink tray and some spooky themed liquor bottles to the mini bar. I then added in something similar to what I did last year, which was the little black cauldron with some green cobwebs. Green cobwebs create just this bubbling cauldron effect, and I really loved how the green of the cobwebs and the orange of the Witch's Brew bottle really tied in the color scheme. Next, I added in the skeleton hand holding the cocktail glass, as well as some Halloween cocktail picks, and then I decided to repurpose this poison apple candle holder and instead used it to hold some tiki straws, and I thought it ended up looking like the spookiest little pineapple. I don't know, that's just me. After stacking some of our favorite cocktail books, I then added in some more of those LED ice cubes, and I just put them in these awesome tiki glasses that my husband got for his birthday, and I decided to set all of them to blue and green, which I feel like added a really cool effect. I decided to add some cobwebs to the tropical birds just to give them a spookier effect. I really loved putting these gummy worms and spiders in this giant margarita glass. It added so much color and it made the bar so much more fun. Next, I moved on to our liquor shelf, and I started off by highlighting this amazing on-theme bottle of rum and this little pirate guy that we've had for so many years now, and I just thought they paired really well together on the shelf. I then added in this awesome bedazzled skull that I got at home last year, which I felt looked very pirate themed with the pearl in the eye socket, and then the sequins had a little bit of red. I then added some creepy cloth on the sides of the liquor shelf, and then added in the 2 skeleton fish that I bought at home this year. Then I decided to add some fishing net that I bought on Amazon to the Tiki Bar just to give it more of a shipwrecked effect. I really enjoyed using this fishing net when my husband and I were an undead pirate and a sea siren for Halloween a few years ago, and I figured I would add some back into this year's decor. We were both really big fans of John Carpenter's The Fog, so I tried to lightly give this area down here just a little bit of that vibe. And in my decor in general, I also take a lot of inspiration from Halloweekends, which is held at Cedar Point, which is our nearest amusement park. We love the atmosphere there so much, so I've been really inspired over the years by their special effects, so I try to weave some of that inspiration into all of my Halloween decor. Finally, I added in these color-changing RGB light bulbs and these awesome side table lamps that blended in really well with the Tiki Bar. I ended up putting them on the floor behind the bar so that they would give the bar a really spectacular, eerie glow. So I added some final touches. First, I decided to take my posable skeleton that I used last year. Last year I had the skeleton dressed as 𝗟𝓪𝓲𝓽𝓵𝓲𝓷 from The Sims, but this year I decided to dress the skeleton as a pirate, obviously to fit with the theme. Later on, before I shot the montage, I did buy the pirate a hook and an eye patch, so you guys will see that at the end of the video, and it really tied the whole look together, and I'm really thrilled about it. Then I decided to bring down our ocean wave projector, which it was like a last minute decision and I can't believe it didn't occur to me sooner, but it really transformed the entire atmosphere. I loved it so much that I bought a second one to project onto the tarot card area, which you will see in the night montage at the end of the video. So here's the final look of the Tiki Bar area during the day, and I am so excited to show you guys what it looks like lit up at night. Let's move on now to the spooky Art Deco living room. Next, I decorated our living area, which is kept as an Art Deco theme all year round, but around Halloween time, I kick it up 12 notches and I make it very over-the-top Art Deco, but spooky. So of course, I had to put on Metropolis, and the first thing I focused on was a new addition to our living area, which is this gorgeous smoked glass bar cart. I started out decorating the bar cart by adding in one of the most fitting liquor bottles that we have, which is this gorgeous Sexton Irish whiskey. I really have always loved this bottle so much. I then added in some more of our Art Deco Halloween elements from last year, as well as this crystal cocktail glass holder with the Art Deco glasses that we used last year, but I do come to find at a moment that they do not fit very well on this tray, so I end up going back to the original glasses that it came with, which actually fit much better. And I added in some leftover cocktail napkins from our wedding, which I felt fit perfectly. After playing around with the placement of everything on the top tier, I did move on to the bottom tier of the bar cart, where I added in some very spooky and themed wine bottles. And the bottle of Avalon wine also has a very special and significant meaning to my husband and I. So not only did it fit in with the theme of the black and gold, but it also had a really special meaning for us. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Dr. Phibes films, but I've watched them recently and it totally blew my mind how Art Deco they were. I had no idea, and I've been in love with Art Deco decor and history for years now, and I had no clue that these classic Vincent Price films were all Art Deco inspired. It just blew my mind. My mom showed them to me and we had a really wonderful time watching them together. If you have not seen the Dr. Phibes films, please watch them right away. They're currently on YouTube. Go watch them. They will prove to you how many films were inspired by Dr. Phibes. Dr. Phibes was ahead of its time, and I applaud it for its originality, for its style, for its set design and plot. It was just so entertaining, and I highly recommend these films to you guys if you have not seen them. Next, I moved on to the coffee table, and you guys, I found this gorgeous table runner on the TJ Maxx website, which I never thought I was going to receive, okay? My package took forever to arrive, and I did not think I was going to get it in time, but I was ecstatic when I finally received it. It's got black and gold beading, and it's just the most beautiful runner I've ever seen. And then I added in that black and gold platter from at home and made a little centerpiece out of it with those glitter pumpkins and some black rocks, as well as that I Lit the Black Flame candle from Spirit Halloween. I then decorated a little tray that we have on the other side of the coffee table, and I added in a toucan candle holder that I got from Bath & Body Works this year. And then I added in this gold owl tiki mug that I decided to use temporarily as a vase. Next, I added in this charcuterie board that I got from Anthropologie last year, and then on top of it, I put a golden black bowl that I got from TJ Maxx that I filled with black cobwebs and then added in a marble skull on top. Finally, I added some bats to the wall above our bar cart because I felt like the wall really needed something to tie in the entire look, just to add an extra spooky touch, and I feel like they turned out beautifully. Before moving on, you guys know I had to put on one of my favorite movies of all time, which is John Carpenter's Halloween. Of course, it's necessary. And on this evening, I decided to decorate our dining table. You guys know that I love to use cobwebs on my dining table every year. I decided to use a giant set of cobwebs this year to cover the entire table, so at the end of stretching it out, it almost looks like fog billowing from the table. I just absolutely love the effect this gives off, but it does take a lot of stretching and manipulating of the cobwebs to get it to cooperate. Stretch it out to the bottom of the table, and at the end you are left with a beautiful foggy effect. On top of the cobwebs, I added in another velvet runner to begin the tablescape. And next I added in the branchy black wreath with the candelabra and black roses with the eyeballs. I just think that they create such a gorgeous, simple, spooky look. It's really hard for me to get away from it because it just works so well. So I had to do it at least one more time. Next I added in this bird cage that we just spray painted black. And then I added in a black crow as well as the cloche that I decorated last year. Next, I added in some ceramic skulls that we've had for years, as well as those skeleton hand votive holders. I finished off the tablescape by again adding more creepy cloth and draping it in places that I felt appropriate, like over the birdcage and one of the ceramic skulls. And I also added in those very Borgin & Burke's Harry Potter-esque taper candles from Spirit Halloween. I then set the table similarly to how I did last year. I used these spider placemats as well as some matte black plates, the small white plates that I hand painted, as well as these beautiful spider bowls and matte black silverware. Lastly, I added some short cocktail glasses with more of those LED light up ice cubes with the cobwebs on top to create that glowing dry ice effect. Once again, we broke out the Webcaster Gun to finish the look off with a very spooky effect. Now it's finally time for the very best part of this video, which is the montage of all of the decor lit up at night. I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to see more videos, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Until then, take care of yourselves and I'll see you next time.